Hello folks, this is Mr. Scheidler. Today we're going to be going over the 80s. And we're going to be teaching you how to do scientific notation and rounding. The first thing you're going to need to know is your place values. These are going to come in handy throughout this unit, so if you don't know your place values, make sure that you look them over and have this sheet handy to help yourself out. Right here are the rules for rounding. We're just going to jump right into some examples, but you should look at these rules. Pause the video right now, look over these rules before we do some of the rounding questions. So here are some numbers that we have to round. I'll do this first set with you, and then at that point in time you should pause the video each time, do the problems, and then progress the video to see if you are doing the problems correctly. So on this first one, we need to go to the ones place. And if we are going to round to the ones place, we need to look at the tens place. If the tens place is a 5 or greater, we round up. If it is a 4 or lower, we round off. So that 9 definitely is greater than 4, so our answer for this one would be 11. In this next problem, again, we've got to round to the tens place, so we look at the hundreds place. Excuse me, I misspoke on that one. We are rounding to the ones place, so we look at the tens place, and the tens place is a 4, so we round off on that one. So again, the rule is if it's 5 or greater, you round up. If it's 4 or lower, you round off. Again, in this problem, we are rounding to the ones place, so we look at the tens place. It is a 4, so we round off. And in this last one, we are rounding to the ones place. We look at the tens place, and the tens place is a 5 or greater, so we round up. So those are your answers, and that is how you round. So those are those answers again. So please pause the video at this point in time, do these problems, then I will put up a slide with the answers on them. So hopefully your work matches this work. If you do have questions, come in and talk to us so we can help you further. Do those problems, pause the video while you do these problems, and I'll put the answers up. So there's the answers for that. And this was homework for everyone to synthesize their own examples. All right, the next thing I need to teach you is scientific notation. Only about 1 out of 4 students feel comfortable with scientific notation, so don't feel bad if this is the first time that you've heard of it. This is an example, and this is an example of scientific notation. So you notice the times 10 and some form of exponent up there. So the rules for scientific notation, you should definitely look these over and look at them as I am going through them. The first one is there can only be one number in front of the decimal point, and that number must be a 1 through 9. In other words, not a 0. Number 2, you need to count the number of place values that the decimal has to move to get behind that first number, and that's going to be your exponent. Number 3, numbers that are less than 1 are going to have a negative exponent, and number 4, numbers that are greater than 1 have a positive exponent. So right here, we have a number, and over here is it written in scientific notation. So let's go through how that occurred. So I need to take this decimal point, and I need to get it right there behind the first non-zero. So I go 1.23456 I write times 10. And now the exponent, how many places did I have to move that decimal point? I had to move it 1 place, 2, 3, 4. So that's where the exponent of 4 comes from. In this next problem, this number is smaller than 1. This is the number how it's written, and this is how it's written in scientific notation. So let's talk about how we got there. So I have to go 9.8701 times 10. So that's following the rules, and I had to move it 1 place, 2 places, 3 places, so that's where this 3 comes from. And since this number is smaller than 1, you get a negative exponent. This is how you type it into your calculator. If you're going to type this number in, you would put these numbers into your calculator. Pause the video if you need to do it. There's one of these 3 buttons on your calculator. You have to figure out which one it is, but you'll push that button. That does the times 10 and gives you the exponent to put in. So don't ever actually hit a multiplication sign and then hit a 1 and a 0. You don't want to do that. You want to use one of these three buttons. You need to put the negative in. That's going to be the negative button, not the subtraction button. You push the 3, and if you hit enter, most likely this will show up on your calculator. Some calculators are a little bit weird, and what they will do is they will actually show you 9.8701 times 10 to the third. They'll actually show you that instead. So either way, as long as things seem like they're working all right, you're good. If not, come in for help and we can help you with that. All right, for the rest of this worksheet, there's no need for a calculator. So what we're going to do is we're going to write these numbers in scientific notation. So I need to get this decimal over here behind this 1. So 1.000 times 10, and I had to move that decimal place 1, 2, 3 spots, so that's where this 3 comes from to make my 10 a little bit better. And it is a number smaller than 1, so it is a negative 3. I need to get this decimal right there, so it's 9.8000, okay, times 10, and I had to go 1 place, so that's times 10 to the first, and it is a number smaller than 1, so it gets a negative exponent. There's no decimal in this problem, but it's assumed that it's behind the 6. So we got to get that all the way over here behind the 1. So 1.23456 times 10, and we had to move it 1 spot, 2 spots, 3 spots, 4 spots, 5 spots times 10 to the 5th. This next spot, again, it's assumed that the decimal point's there, even though it's not. So it's 1.1 times 10, and we had to move it 1 spot, so times 10 to the first. So there are those answers, a little bit neater form. So now you try these problems, and I will post the answers right after you get done working through them. But please try them rather than just copying down the answers that I'm going to present to you. So those are those answers. If you didn't get those, you might want to come in for a little bit of assistance. We will be using scientific notation all year long. So the rest is homework, but what I will do is I will provide you with the answers. So again, please try these problems, see how you do. I will have you pause the video at this point in time, and I will present the answers as soon as you unpause it. Those are the answers. Again, if you did not get those, please come in for assistance. Try these problems, pause the video. And here are those answers. Try these problems. Pause the video. Numbers that are greater than 1 have exponents that are positive, and numbers with exponents that are less than 1 have a negative. And that's all there is, folks. So come in for help if you do, in fact, need some help.